Welcome to GuideMia. Today we're going to talk about opening a Cases Studio project file, the .cyp, and refining the plan. This one is for designers who've just picked up an assignment and want to see the case in the same scene the doctor was looking at, same camera angle, same measurements, same photo gallery, before touching anything. By the end you'll know where the project file lands on disk, how to open it in Cympha Studio, how to read the view you inherited, how to switch into OrthoPlus for the actual tooth movement, and which files travel back to the cloud when you're done. About 8 minutes the first time, 2 minutes per case once the round trip feels natural. Follow along, or listen now and read later. Let's answer the obvious objection first. The scans are already in your folder, so why not just open the meshes and get on with it? 2 reasons. First, the doctor's framing tells you what they care about. When a case was built in Cympha Studio, the project file recreates the scene they were last looking at, and if they left the camera parked on a single midline, a posterior cant, or a third molar collision, that's the doctor pointing at the problem without writing a word. Jumping straight into OrthoPlus throws that context away. Second, the photo gallery is right there. You can flip from the 3-dimensional scene to a clinical photo and back without leaving the browser. 30 seconds in the doctor's scene is the cheapest context you will get on this case, so let's go get it. For prerequisites: a Cympha account in the designer role, or a lab manager standing in for one, and actually approved. While you're still pending, your assignment's queue stays empty, and the designer's first day lecture covers that. The Cympha agent manager installed and showing paired in the tray. The install and pair guide walks it if you haven't. A configured cloud monitoring workspace. Right-click the tray icon, open cloud monitoring, click configure workspace, and then use choose folder to pick one. The dialog reads not set until you do. There is no default path anywhere, and the moment you choose a folder, monitoring starts automatically. There's no separate start button to hunt for. And a desktop copy of GuideMia OrthoPlus, if the case is orthodontic or AlignerBot Studio, in the browser, lets you look, measure, and reframe the scene. OrthoPlus is where teeth actually move. You should already have at least one case in my assignments with the status designing. Open it once before we continue. You'll be moving between that case page and the desktop the whole time. Step 1. Locate the case on disk. When the agent pulls Cympha and sees a case assigned to you, it materializes it as a subfolder under your workspace. First a category folder, Ortho, AlignerBot, or Implant, then a folder named from the patient, the date, and the case number. Inside, you'll typically find the upper and lower scan meshes the doctor uploaded, the lab slip PDF, always refreshed when case data changes, and any photos, x-rays, or accessory files they attached. And, when the doctor built the case in Cympha Studio using Create Cympha Case, a CYP file, the studio project that captures their scene. Cases submitted through the ordinary new case form, as plain STL uploads, don't have one. If there's no project file in your folder, that's why, and you'll work from the meshes directly. If the folder isn't there at all, open the tray's cloud monitoring panel and read the status line. Paired and polling means give it 60 seconds, not paired or idle means repair first. Step 2. Go to studio.cympha.com. Studio opens and renders without a sign-in. Click Open Project, and pick the project file from the Cases Workspace folder on disk. Studio restores the saved scene, and it's worth naming exactly what that includes. The camera angle and zoom, the same vantage point the doctor saved, buccal, occlusal, lingual, or 3/4. The mesh appearance, tooth and gingiva colors, transparency, and any annotations the doctor drew. The photo gallery, image files sitting next to the project file show up as the doctor's photo set, in the order they last arranged them. And the measurements, any tooth-to-tooth or arch width measurements they placed. What you should land on is a scene that looks like the screenshot the doctor would describe to you over the phone, not a generic top-down occlusal view. Spend 30 to 60 seconds reading before you act. Cycle the camera with the cube widget in the top right, or the preset buttons, front, left, right, upper, lower, and note which view the doctor left set as the active camera. That's what they considered the headline view of this case. Click through the photos in the gallery pane and compare the patient's actual mouth to the rendered scan. You're looking for soft tissue context, lip line, gingival recession, the things that never show up on a mesh. Then reread the case parameters in the right-hand panel. Plan range, occlusal class, extractions, attachment preference. Those come straight from the AlignerBot or Ortho intake form, and they override anything said in the chat. If something in the brief is still ambiguous after all that, open the case chat. It's shared with the lab manager and the doctor, and ask now. before you spend 20 minutes in OrthoPlus designing the wrong thing. Now the handoff between the two tools, because they divide the labor cleanly. Studio is read and measure, cameras, photos, measurements, annotations. For tooth movement, you switch to OrthoPlus on the same workstation and open the case from its workspace folder. OrthoPlus picks up the same meshes, plus the existing OrthoPlus project file if one is already there. If this is the first design pass and no project exists yet, OrthoPlus walks its automatic chain, scan repair, AI segmentation, automatic tooth setup, and drops you into the treatment planning stage. There's a separate end-to-end OrthoPlus walkthrough in the docs for that. From here, make the refinements the case needs: staging, attachment positions, interproximal reduction, refinement passes. And save as you go. OrthoPlus writes its project file back into the same case folder, which matters a great deal for the next slide. Here's the part that confuses every new designer exactly once: what does and doesn't travel. The OrthoPlus project file, the .gos, stays local. It is not on the agent's upload list and will never appear on the case in Cympha, so don't wait for it. Your cloud deliverables are the exports. The GVW review file uploads automatically the moment you export it into the case folder, and be aware that it's a trigger, not just an upload, a review file arriving via the agent on a case in designing requests plan approval all by itself. So export it when the plan is genuinely ready for the doctor's eyes, not as a checkpoint save. The transfer pack, produced by OrthoPlus's Save for Transfer at phase completion, behaves like most other file types. It waits in the Cloud Monitor panel for your upload click, under New in Workspace. Once a file goes up, it appears in the Files panel on the case detail page in your browser. 2 closing behaviors to understand. First, until a review file goes up, the case sits in designing and the customer sees nothing new on their side. Pushing it forward is the Save and Request Approval flow. The next lecture in this series walks it in full. Second, the project file round trips. If you rearrange the studio scene, a new camera, new annotations, a different photo order, saving back updates the project file. But only the scene state travels: camera, annotations, photos. The underlying meshes never change from studio. The practical consequence is rather nice. The doctor opening the case next sees your annotated view, not theirs, so you can frame your answer to their question the same way they framed the question to you. 4 snags. The case folder never appeared in your workspace. Open the Tray's Cloud Monitoring panel. If the status line says not paired, repair. If it says paired, remember the agent only downloads cases whose holder is you. In designing, a case still sitting in submitted or intake review won't materialize. Studio opens but the scene is blank. The project file travels with a sibling asset folder, and if the scans didn't download alongside it, the scene comes up empty. Check that every file listed in the case's files panel is actually on disk, and look for download errors in the panel. OrthoPlus doesn't see the case. It needs the patient folder structure the agent creates. Pointing it at a flat folder of STL files won't trigger the case-aware flow, so verify the subfolder name matches the patient date case pattern. And a scene with the doctor's camera but no photos just means they didn't attach any. Photos are optional in the intake form, and for design only AlignerBot cases having none at all is completely expected. If you genuinely expected photos on this case, message the doctor through the customer chat thread. One last non-problem worth repeating, because it sends people looking for a fault that isn't there: your saved OrthoPlus project file will never appear on Cympha. It isn't on the agent's upload list. By design, the files that travel are the review file, which goes up automatically, and the transfer pack, which waits for your upload click. That's the round trip: the doctor's scene in studio, the tooth movement in OrthoPlus, and only the right deliverables traveling back to the cloud. Once it feels natural, it's a 2-minute overhead per case, and it starts every design from the doctor's point of view instead of a blank occlusal view. Next in the series, Save and Request Approval walks the handoff back to the doctor in detail, including the one file that requests approval entirely by itself. And when you want more than read and measure from Studio, the Studio cookbooks on the site go deeper into its workflows. The written guide, with the exact folder paths and every failure mode, is at cympha.com. Open the Docs section and find OpenACYP in Studio and refine the plan. If this series is saving you design rounds, subscribe. We're walking through every Cympha workflow, one lecture at a time. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.